What does bad weather look like in Montreal? One thing that I think is surprising about Montreal is even on a bad day, it's generally very sunny. You might look at a thermometer and it's minus 20 degrees, but the sun is shining, it's a clear blue sky. A really bad day in the city would be heavy cloud, heavy snow. There is something called freezing rain, and that basically is rain that just freezes as soon as it reaches any surface. That can be dangerous and you have to dress accordingly.
I guess I'm fairly lucky in that Kelowna is relatively mild for Canada. It's lovingly referred to as Kelownafornia by locals, at least. That being said, we do get a couple of weeks per year of fairly significant cold. A lot of winter it hovers -5, -10 this last one or two, but it will occasionally drop to -20, -25, -30 sometimes overnight. At those temperatures, especially as an Australian, I would consider that to be quite cold.
So I'm based in Vancouver, BC. Our version of bad weather is basically rain. There's a reason people call it Raincouver. Most fall and winter here is gray, gloomy, and wet.
I've been living in Vancouver, BC for 7 years now. It's definitely not as cold as other parts of Canada. From October all the way to January or even February, you're gonna see a lot of rain. The temperatures are usually ranging from 5 to 10-ish degrees.
I live in Oakville, Ontario. Winters here are mild compared to other Canadian cities. In the coldest months, temperatures usually range from -6 to -12 degrees, but it gets really windy. The good thing is we don't get a lot of snow, around 10 centimeters. The downside is that it can change between snow and rain at the same day. So if that's the case, the ground will get really icy.
How do you dress for it to stay comfortable? I try to keep it very simple. I wear 3 layers. I start with a cotton t-shirt. On top of that, a thin sweater. This is merino wool. I am always looking for fabrics that are more breathable. It keeps me warm and at the same time allows my body to breathe.
I'm going to do this from the perspective of being a parent. I always put my kids in a kind of onesie. It's down-filled, very soft material. They would wear thermals underneath. You want to wear a waterproof shell on the outside. It's all about layering because a kid running around like crazy can get hot, get cold, so they need to be able to help moderate that temperature.
I always check the weather apps. If the app says it's -9, but it feels like -15, that's the number that you need to dress for. For that kind of day, I usually wear crew neck sweater or bottoms. I usually wear heavyweight denim, wool pants, or fleece-lined joggers. When it's colder than -15 degrees, you will need a proper parka jacket and also an extra layer.
In my experience, thermal base layer and then jeans over the top of it. They tend to be fairly low profile, so you don't look like hugely bulky. If it's really cold, then you can throw a pair of insulated winter pants over the top of that. There is a French-Canadian girl that I met in Scotland who gave me the tip. If you do have longer hair, just having the hair on the back of your neck can add a degree or two in warmth. I do notice a difference from doing that. So shout out to Marie-Pierre if you see this, because that was a phenomenal tip.
The first one is a base layer like this, which is from Uniqlo called their Heat Tech, a warm sweater, and then a puffer jacket on top. For bottoms, I usually wear fleece-lined leggings or sweatpants, a rain jacket that's slightly insulated because I get cold easily. Now when winter hits, my main jacket is the Aritzia Super Puff. It's down-filled, warm, and it does pretty well in light rain, even though it's technically only water resistant.
Any cold weather tips for people moving to a similar climate? My cold weather tips are investing in what I felt was good quality. I often bought in bulk and buy 3 or 4 of the same pair because kids use them. Having really good quality footwear makes life much more enjoyable. If your feet are wet and cold, you'll be miserable. Getting boots that are waterproof, good grip is also very important. I also use these hand warmers for my kids when we're out and about. So if I'm out for the day, if they have ski lessons, then I will take a few of these and put them in their gloves. You can also get them for boots. These ones work out to be like a couple of dollars each. Another piece of advice I'd give for anyone with children is to really just embrace it. Kids love the snow. They love being able to go ice skating, snowshoeing, skiing. It's really fun to see the magic of winter through their eyes.
quality layers matters a lot more than additional layers, and sometimes adding additional layers without the extra quality in the clothing can really just lead to you like having more restrictions in movement, potentially cutting off circulation, which is a worse outcome than if you had have just chosen a higher quality layer to begin with. Prioritizing layers like merino or layers that are higher quality, it tends to be like moisture wicking, so you don't get cold from sweat staying on your body. Cotton is not necessarily a good layer to have immediately beside your skin if you are transitioning from warm to cool, because it can hold the moisture and then it makes you colder as soon as you go outside.
Accessories make a huge difference. My hands, head, neck, and feet get cold fast, so keeping those areas warm really helps. Scarf and thick socks also go a long way. Waterproof gear is going to be your best friend. A proper rain jacket is a must, especially if you're going to be living in Vancouver. I like to pair that as well with waterproof shoes, because if you're like me, whenever my feet get wet, it's game over. If you are going to be moving to Vancouver, you don't need a giant winter coat, but layering is something that you will want to master, especially when you're dealing with rain, snow, wind, which will happen here.
My tip would be to really pay attention to the materials used. A lot of times you're going to see brands charging a lot of money for polyester jackets that will not keep you very warm and are not as breathable as something like a down jacket. If you need to save money, because a down jacket will be more expensive probably, something that I wish I knew when I arrived is to look into secondhand items. You'd be surprised at what you can find. You can find really great deals for high quality clothes, and I think that's a better idea than going for a cheaper brand new item.